Do me a favor, bro. Hold this L.
Hold this L.
Hold this L.
Welcome to another episode of Hold This L with your host, Lonnie and Cappel. We back for season 4, episode 3. What's going on with you, cuz? How you doing?
Oh, bro, man, ready to get into this football and stuff, man. Just recently went to the Saints game, checked out the GOAT, Tom Brady. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't happy about the outcome. I'm a 49ers fan. Anybody who knows that. But I secondary rep for the Saints. I'm a Louisiana person. I'm an LSU fan. I got a rep for the Saints. So I wasn't happy to see the Saints lose, but it was good to see the GOAT play and see so many players from LSU like Tyrann Mathieu, Jarvis Landry, Devin White, players like that, seeing them coming from Leonard Fournette, seeing all those players from LSU also, to be able to watch them in person also was pretty big for me too. So it was pretty cool.
Okay. Yeah, I know that's a nice treat, man. I never got a chance to see Tom Brady play. Will be a nice treat to see him play. I don't want to see him play the Saints, though. I want to see him play somebody else. That way I can root for him to do good and get a good show. And I hope my team do bad, even though we lost anyway. You know what I'm saying? But that's a conversation for another day. So you said something, you talked about the 49ers, your team. That's going to kind of lead into one of our major topics for today, because the 49ers had a major issue, this last game with Trey Lance having his ankle injury. Good old Garoppolo back on the scene for the rest of the season. Like, Garoppolo just can't stay away. But, I mean, what you think that means for your 49ers and the outlook for them this year? Because we already know what the team looked like with Garoppolo. What's your expectations for the team this year?
They're a playoff team. I can't give you any expectation besides that, because that's all I've seen with Jimmy Garoppolo. Sorry for the message. That was something. I got some stuff going on, so excuse that. But with Jimmy Garoppolo, everybody knows we're a playoff team.
Yeah,
that's obvious. We've been to the NFC Championship a year. We've been in the playoffs every year except the year he was hurt. And I think we've gotten to the NFC Championship multiple times. We're a playoff team. That's not enough. And to be honest with you, my opinion, I feel like we weren't using Trey Lance the way we need to use him. They weren't letting that kid throw the ball. You're doing read options, you're doing stuff like that, man. Let him come out and see if he can throw the ball. Get him some quick passing, get him going good. First of all, I feel like that's part of the reason he get hurt. Or he got hurt. He can throw the ball. Let him throw it. We don't need to be running read options and different things like that. I just feel like, the way it was set up from the beginning was for Trey Lance not to excel. It's the reason we kept Jimmy Garoppolo, and let's just be honest with it. They didn't have complete confidence in Trey Lance.
Yeah.
You could have dealt Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't care about the shoulder injury. I don't care what you say. There's multiple teams in the NFL that would have signed Jimmy Garoppolo, especially for less than what y'all restructured his contract based off of him not getting the reps he's going to get now. Because now he's going to get paid. But if he'd have sat on the bench and Trey Lance play all year, there's multiple teams that would have paid him more to come to them. So let's be clear about that. Like, I think there was some riffraff with all that, but neither here nor there. I don't want to go too far into that. I just think we're a playoff team, and if everything goes well and we don't have injuries, we can win the Super Bowl.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, y'all got a good enough team to get to the Super Bowl and win it, depending on who y'all playing. I think this is a step backwards for y'all because, like you say, we know y'all a playoff team with Jimmy Garoppolo. And while the NFC is a weak division, as far as what we assume it to be, some teams taking a step forward. Philadelphia, they looking like they legit this year,
Right.
We know the New Orleans Saints defense was going to be legit, and they actually have been playing well. The offense, we still on the fence about that. We had a good quarter in Jameis Winston, which led to a victory. But outside of that quarter, the offense is looking kind of, suspect. So I mean, we'll see.
Hey, did I pick the Philadelphia Eagles and the 49ers in the NFC Championship?
You picked them after you picked the Rams first.
But I told you I was wrong with that. Yeah, so I corrected myself. But I did pick them, right? That was before the first game.
You did pick them, and you corrected yourself after me and Kelly pretty much tore your pick apart. But it is what it is. You picked the Eagles.
No, actually, my pick was one of Kelly's picks, the Buccaneers. No, I just went and reevaluated.
Your pick was
he picked the Saints and the Bucks for the NFC Championship.
He did.
I picked the 49ers and the Bucks, but I was wrong about the Bucks. I changed the Bucks to the Eagles.
You picked the 49ers and the Rams. And then you changed to the Eagles. And before you changed to the Eagles, we was like, who gonna make it to the Super Bowl? Because you said it definitely ain't gonna be the Saints. And I was like, who's gonna make it besides the Rams? And you was like the Bucks. And I said, okay, the Bucks is a good choice.
Yeah,
because
you're right.
But nevertheless, yes, you picked the Eagles. You did. You needed some coaching from me and Kelly, but hey, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? You picked the Eagles. But yeah, the 49ers, they are one of the favorites to make it to the NFC Championship. I just think that they took us. The reason I say they took a step backwards is because we know, like you said, what the 49ers are with Garoppolo. We don't know what they are with Lance, and everybody's estimation is they will be better with Lance because of the threat that he is as a passer and as a runner, more as a runner. And, we were looking to see what he could be as a passer. Right. That's the question mark that everybody had. So it is unfortunate that he's out for the year. We got a lot of Trey Lance left to see. He's young.
Get healthy, bro.
Yeah, he's going to get healthy, and he'll be back strong next year. But in the meantime, the 49ers are still one of those teams to beat in the NFC. But the crazy part is because, your Super Bowl picks was the 49ers and the Buffalo Bills. And I feel like Trey Lance at his highest potential, if that Super Bowl would be there, that would be a good Super Bowl. But Buffalo Bills, San Francisco 49ers, Garoppolo the quarterback. If that is the Super Bowl, I'm sorry, man. Y'all gonna get crushed. but you know what? We don't know Super Bowl. I really bring that up to say the Bills, they've been playing dominant football. They look like a team that can't be touched right now. Right now, I can't think of a team that can play with them the way they look. Now, granted, they played the Rams, which is a great team. They beat the brakes off of them. They look very convincing. They played the Titans, not a strong team, but still, they did what a team of that magnitude is supposed to do to a team like the Titans.
Bro, they did
beat the dog shit out of them.
They did what the Titans, what basketball teams do. There's not many NFL games watch where the starters don't play the fourth quarter. Like,
yeah, you're right. That's a basketball game. You're absolutely right. That's a basketball game, not a football game. They did not play the fourth quarter. Pissed a lot of people off. A lot of fantasy players off. Yes. People who had Stephon Diggs was like, oh, he got me 47 points. Probably needed like 5 more points. Maybe 2 more points. I hate
if y'all picked it for 150 plus because he had 148.
Oh, I mean, it's just dominant, man. Absolutely dominant. Like, who is there a team in your opinion that you feel can right now, based on what we've seen, that can hang with the Buffalo Bills?
No, absolutely not. I've not seen a team, and when you say hang, I really take that literally. No.
Yeah, I haven't either, man. They look that dominant. Josh Allen is playing a quarterback position like he's a superstar college quarterback. Like Stroud or Ohio State and the quarterbacks from Alabama, where they throwing touchdowns at will, winning the game by 25 points at halftime. 3 or 4 touchdowns. So we'll go ahead.
And I want to know if I'm tripping or if I'm seeing this, if you're seeing the same thing I'm seeing. Is Von Miller not aging?
He looked like he's in his prime still. He looked like he is in his prime. Like
3 years ago, we was like, Von Miller is slowing down, like he may need to retire, and it's like you looking at Von Miller now, like
I feel like it's one of those motivation things. He was with Denver. He did have some injury issues, but when he came back here apparently healthy, you just didn't see Von Miller that you saw, and you just thought that, hey, he's getting older. He still was playing at a high level, but he wasn't the Von Miller or the Super Bowl Von Miller. But then he go to the Rams, murdering it, and now he with the Bills. And he's like one of the best defensive ends in the league right now.
You still look at it with the Rams, like, okay, Aaron Donald on that team. Mm-hmm. You got that. So, he going to get some extra run. He Von Miller. If you playing in 1-on-1, he going to. But now you at Buffalo, you like, he doing even better.
Yeah.
Like what?
I mean, it's
It's
like
crazy, bro.
right now they playing like a cheat code team.
Yeah,
You know,
they
like
really
you just play Madden. Somebody used to get the All-Star team, and they used to play with the All-Star team, and you got a regular team. Like, dude, come on now, pick a regular team. You know, they go with the all '90s team or all whatever. Like, pick a regular team. Like that's how Buffalo Bills playing right now. They're playing like a cheat code team.
I need somebody to guard Stephon Diggs. I don't know
dude,
what it is, but for some reason, nobody can guard this dude.
Either he's that good, or the offense is either he's that good, or the offensive scheme is that good. Because how can you lose Stephon Diggs?
He's that good, but Josh Allen
wide open.
Josh Allen is even better at finding him, which makes it even worse.
Look, I give Josh Allen the credit for finding him, but when that ball go to Diggs, dude, listen. We've seen several years of football where a quarterback is like pinpoint accuracy, and then they have a great receiver, and they just put it in a certain spot, and that receiver get it. And we say, "Oh, look at that throw! Look at that receiver!" I'm not taking nothing away from Josh Allen.
No.
But these throws for Stephon Diggs, this dude is wide open. It's like
what I'm saying about Josh Allen, he's throwing those balls before Diggs even get open. Like it's a compliment to Diggs. Like he already know he gonna be open. I just gotta throw it to a spot. He gonna be there, and ain't nobody gonna be around him. I just gotta throw it.
That's my point. That's my point to Diggs. It's not. Yeah,
he a monster.
Yeah, it's not to Allen. It's like Allen's not doing nothing wrong. It's just I'm saying like Diggs is wide open.
People. He's killing them.
Wide open. It's crazy. Like,
bro, I saw a play this past week, and I don't want to linger on it, but I saw a play where he ran a route and he turned a dude completely. Like I saw it with Devontae Adams too. Like they run routes and the dude get completely turned around, and you like, how are they that wide open? Because the dude that was guarding them, they just made them trip over their own feet and they fell down.
And it's happening over and over again.
Bro,
so we got a lot of football left. I remember last year, this is what we said about the Rams, and then they sputtered, and then they picked it back up. So,
but this look a little different.
These are professional football teams.
They're not even running the ball.
But these professional football teams, coaches, they adjust, they adapt, and we'll see what happens. I mean, the Buffalo Bills, they look great, but we'll see what happens. They got some teams that's looking pretty good. Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs, they look good. People want to say, oh, well, he came back down to earth against the Chargers. He played against a really good defense, and he still won, which goes back to what I was saying in our last episode is when the chip's on the line, give me Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is playing on the team with nobody would consider them a threat on the offensive end outside of Kelsey. Kelsey was held in check. All the receivers are held in check. Patrick Mahomes did what he needed to do. Yes, defense stepped up, got a pick six. You know what I'm saying? But they, as a quarterback, his team won. And that's a staple of Patrick Mahomes. So at the end of the day, I'm not counting Patrick Mahomes out, just like I never counted out Tom Brady when he was playing with the Patriots, because Patrick Mahomes deserves that credit. So while the Buffalo Bills are the team, they look like the team, you still got some teams in the NFC that I'm like, until you show me, I'm still gonna be like, I'm not gonna say they're gonna win, but Patrick Mahomes is definitely somebody who deserves the benefit of the doubt.
I'm the first one to say, in the words of Shannon Sharp, my homeboy, I'm sorry. I don't know what the hell I was thinking when we did last episode, and I said you was gonna be the number 4 quarterback in your division. Bro, you ain't gonna be the number 4 quarterback in the league. They're gonna be lucky if you're the number 2 quarterback in the league, because Josh Allen gonna have to go on the stupid pace and keep doing what he's doing for you to be number 2. My bad, bro. It won't happen again. When you say something stupid, the best thing about that is how you respond to it. I am man enough to realize what I said was stupid. No. It was stupid.
What you said, no, it wasn't. The reason why I say it is because that was a very widespread opinion. A lot of people thought that Patrick Mahomes was going to take a dip this year because they were looking at the weapons around him. And
except when I was talking to you and you said, man, you done lost your mind.
I don't know if I said that.
No, not those specific words, but you implied it.
Okay, so you're right. it wasn't a widespread opinion that he would be the fourth best quarterback in the division. That was ridiculous.
Stupid.
That was ridiculous.
Stupid. It was
stupid. But it was widely like accepted as an opinion that he would take a step back because he didn't have the weapons that everybody else in that division had. And I said Patrick Mahomes is one of those quarterbacks who he will make people look better. If they're great, he will make them look all-time great. If they're all-time great, he will make them look like the best in the world. If they okay, he will make them look good. And right now he got a lot of okay receivers, and he's going to make them look good because of who he is as a quarterback. So the Chiefs definitely up there. I still like Chargers. I still like, let's talk about this Miami and Ravens game. I still like the Ravens, the Dolphins, they look good. We're going to talk about them in a second, but I still like the Ravens. They fell apart. They should have won that game. They was winning in a blowout fashion, but the Ravens still got the tools that's needed to be a championship team. Who else is in the AFC? It's like my mind is just like drawn blank. You like the Raiders. Do you still feel the same way about the Raiders after these first 2 weeks?
Well, actually, I'm going to throw a team out there for you that I threw out there a couple of weeks ago.
We're not there yet. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. I know what you're about to say, but we're not there yet. Not yet. Because when we get there, we're gonna have like a full-blown conversation. So don't go there yet. I know where you're about to go. But teams that we think are contenders, not teams that just look good for the first couple of weeks. Like who else do you think are contenders? Because you said you felt like the Raiders were contenders. Are you still feeling that way about the Raiders after these first 2 weeks?
100%. I feel like the Raiders are a team that they're gonna be gelling. They got some new pieces. They got some things going on. New coach. They got a lot of adjustments, but I think they're a really good team. Defense is a little skeptical, but I think they can outscore people. I think Derek Carr, I think Hunter Renfrow, I think all those receivers and Derek Carr, along with Waller, they'll get on the same page. And I do think they're a playoff team. Do I think they're going to win the Super Bowl? Absolutely not. But do I think they're a playoff team? I definitely think they're a playoff team and a contender. Absolutely.
You still think they're going to be first place in the division?
No. Why you got to bring that up? I already told you.
I'm just making sure.
I already apologized to Patrick Mahomes, man.
We said we was pulling receipts. And while we can't pull receipts completely yet because you never know what's going to happen, Derek Carr could tear it up from week 3 to week 18. He could tear it up, and if he do, you definitely gonna come on here.
But I still think they're a playoff team.
If Derek Carr come back from week 3 to week 18 and absolutely kill it, you are gonna talk your shit. So don't concede now. Don't be one of those.
I'm not conceding.
Okay,
like I said, I never did I say they were gonna win the Super Bowl. I said they're going to contend and they're going to be a playoff team. And I still believe that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we definitely going to see. We definitely going to see. I'm still on the fence. I'm not on the fence. I don't believe they're going to be a playoff team, but we will see. So fire and smoke. I know you've been waiting on this. You're ready to get your glow on. The fire and smoke going straight to the Miami Baltimore game. Tua's performance. He killed it. Against the Ravens. He had 6 TDs, over 450 yards, I think, passing, close to 500 yards. He absolutely was an absolute beast. But is this fire or smoke?
It's fire. Actually, he was pretty good in the week before that, too. And had 2 touchdown passes to Tyreek Hill and had a dang good. People forget, bro. Everybody was talking about Tua not being able to throw the ball downfield. I don't need you to throw the ball 80 yards. I need you to throw it 50 on point. Tyreek Hill can burn them the rest of the way. Jalen Waddle can burn them the rest of the way. I need you to throw it on point where they're on the run and they don't have to break stride, which is what he's doing and the reason that they're being successful. And like I told people just sleep on Mike Gesicki, and they went and got a stable of running backs. They got like 4 running backs. And 2 or 3 of them can catch out the backfield, which is what they did is they went and built a team around Tua and nobody paid attention to it. And they already had a good defense. All they did was go get speed receivers that they can run in cuts, they can run deep balls, and they can run stuff where Tua needs to be accurate. And that's what they did. And it's working. The only thing is they've started off slow, and I think that's normal with having so many different players, having added different offense, adding different things, running backs and stuff like that. But the defense has always been constant. I even said that before. And the thing about the defense being constant, when your defense is always constant and keeping you in the games, you always have a chance to win.
This is smoke. It's so much smoke. I'm fanning it out my face, and I'm just blowing it out the way because, like, they get credit for what they did. They came back. They won that game. Tua made the plays he needed to make. But I will say this. You know how they asked the question, did Miami win the game or did Baltimore lose it? And Baltimore absolutely lost that game. They start playing less efficient. They start running the ball. They stop moving the ball down the field. Defense start playing very lackadaisical. And then when it was time, and then, you know, Lamar Jackson made a mistake towards the end of the game. And they allowed their game to slip through their fingers. So do I give Miami for making the plays that they needed to make to come back? Yes. But this wasn't a game where Miami came back in the second half and they just stomped a hole in the Ravens, stopped the offense from moving the ball, and was just like a juggernaut because they figured something out. This was the Ravens taking them for granted because they absolutely crushed them in the first half. That should have been an L. It should have been a loss. I don't see the Miami Dolphins as the team that you see. Tua, you're right. He got weapons in Tyreek Hill where he can just get the ball, but he's not getting them in stride. Tyreek Hill is so far away from everybody that he can catch the ball and then take off. He is not very accurate as a thrower. He's not,
Okay.
and so I give that credit to Tyreek Hill, not to Tua.
Okay.
And he had a good game. I'm not taking away the game, but even the game against New England, I'm not done yet. Even the game against New England, he was mediocre. He had 270 yards and 1 touchdown. The defense came to play that day. I give the defense credit, but that's part of the team. So is Miami a good team? Yes, I think they're a good team. What you see in Miami, I don't see. Are they a sleeper? Yes, they can be a sleeper because if they make the playoffs this year, based off of where they were, they will be considered a sleeper. So, like last week, I agree with you when you said they was a sleeper team. But do I think they're a team that's going to be formidable? No, I do not.
I'm going to just give you the stats for the first 2 weeks. This is Josh Allen and Tua Tagovailoa. And I'm going to take into account that Josh Allen didn't play the fourth quarter of last game. So I'm going to give him an extra 200 yards. I'm not saying he would have threw for 200 yards in the fourth quarter, but I'm going to give it to him. 52 for 69. I'm going to give you what he has, and I'm going to just say, even if he had 200 yards more, he's 52 of 69 for 614 yards, 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Tua is 59 of 83 for 739 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions.
Read those numbers again for the people in the back that didn't hear you.
52 and 69 for 614 yards for Josh Allen with 7 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Tua, 59 of 83 for 739 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions.
Carson Wentz, 650 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Are we just surprised? Are we just as impressed with Carson Wentz as we are with Tua?
Give me what's the passing? What's the completion versus passes with Carson Wentz?
What's the completion percentage you're asking?
No. Tua is 59 of 83. What is Carson Wentz?
Carson Wentz is 57 of about like 90 something.
And how many yards does he have?
650. He's second in yards in the league.
Well, how can he be? So he's second behind Tua?
Yep. 650. Joe Flacco is third, 616.
But Tua has almost 100 more yards passing him and 1 less interception with about 10, 15,
my
maybe
point,
my
point is not that his numbers are not better. My point is, do you see Carson Wentz as having a great year with those numbers that he has? This is the difference between Tua and Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz lost in his comeback effort against Detroit. He had to put up air yards to come back. Tua was successful in his game. They both of their teams, Washington Commanders and Miami Dolphins, played like shit the first half. They had to play comeback. But Detroit was able to keep Washington from coming back and winning, whereas the Baltimore Ravens were not. So
Washington played Detroit and they played Baltimore with Lamar Jackson.
Baltimore, we're giving credit because of the name. We're talking about Lamar Jackson don't play defense. And we assumed that their defense is going to be better. But guess what? Marcus Peters is not back. They missing another corner that's not healthy, that's not back. So the defense is not 100% the way that we thought they were going to be. Because if we remember last year, Baltimore had one of the worst defenses in the league because of injuries. And they're starting off with that same personnel for the most part.
And gave up only 9 points last week.
Who gave up 9 points last week? They just
Baltimore.
played Miami. Miami just crushed them. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the week before.
Who did they play the week before?
The Jets, the same team that gave up 30, that scored 31 on the Browns.
The Browns?
Come on, man. I'm just saying 30 they had 9, they gave up 9.
Oh, we talking about the Jets now? Are we really giving credit to the Jets because they had a good game against the Browns?
No, I'm not giving credit to the Jets. I'm not giving credit.
I know what the point that you're trying to make. I just don't agree that the Dolphins are in a position to say that they are that team.
You know what? And I know we got to move on.
Yes.
So I'm gonna agree with you on that. I'm gonna take that for now, but like I said, that's a receipt. I'm gonna cash that one. Just
keep that receipt. And this is the last thing I'm gonna say. The main reason why I don't give the Dolphins the same credit you give them is because of you don't see dominance with their team. And when you look at a team like Buffalo, the Chiefs, even the Eagles, like if we was having this conversation about the Eagles and I would have said the Eagles is not the team and you was like, nah, they're going to the championship, they the team to beat, I would have to eat my words because the Eagles look dominant. From beginning to end, they look dominant. Miami, they capitalized off of a team that didn't put them away when they were supposed to. I need to see more from Miami to be able to give them that credit that you're giving them. That's all I'm saying.
I'll give you that. But they're gonna show you.
Okay, we're gonna see. We're gonna see. All right, next, Cincinnati Bengals, fire or smoke. I'll go with this one. I think, I'm gonna be honest, man. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I think it's fire. I do. I think it's fire. I know we look at Cincinnati as being a great offensive team. They shored up that offensive line. We expected them to be able to do even better things than they did last year because they won the Achilles heel was the line and they still was able to be offensively great. Defense was pretty good last year. We expected them to be even better this year. But there's certain statistics that people don't really recognize that for some reason they make sense. And one of them is how teams who make it to the Super Bowl don't win often have mediocre to bad seasons following that year.
Right.
It's something about that that's just tried and true. And I don't know what the number, I don't know what the theory is behind why those teams falter, but this is what looks like it's happening to Cincinnati. You played Pittsburgh. Yes, you always have Mike Tomlin who coaches well and has his team playing hard. But they should have won that game. Everything about that game should have been a win. As good as Pittsburgh tried to play them and all the mistakes that Cincinnati made, they still should have won that game.
Mm-hmm.
Then they played Dallas, who's without their quarterback, who's got Cooper Rush, making Cooper Rush look like he should be a starter in the NFL. The offense couldn't do nothing. We just saw a Tampa Bay offense didn't even play up to its potential, just ran the ball down their throat. And Cincinnati couldn't move the ball on the ground or in the air. I'm a little worried. I'm not going to lie. I think it's fire. I know most people probably think it's smoke, but I do not. I think it's a legit reason for Cincinnati Bengals fans to panic.
I'll tell you why I think it's fire, bro. And I'm going to make it quick. First of all, they should have won if it wasn't for that last second field goal. That comeback, that drive by Joe Burrow in the last seconds. In the first week when they were down, they committed 5 turnovers and still should have won that game. And I think they underestimated the team they were playing in week 2, and I think it was a little bit of letdown off of week 1, but I do not I am not going to give up on Joe Burrow. I think that dude is the real deal. And I think it's complete smoke. You know, seeing how he drove them down the field to bring them back in that first game, I still have confidence in him and being able to produce until he showed me he can't.
Yeah.
I think they're only going to get better and they're going to learn from this. I actually think it's a good thing because they're still people forget they're a young team. They're still a very young team, and things like this happening to a team that's coming off of a Super Bowl run, NFC Championship run, and that may give you a little bit of a hangover. But after you get your butt whooped a couple of times, it may bring you back to reality, to getting back to the basics. And I think it's probably a good thing for them. So I think it's smoke, man. I think the Bengals going to be fine, and I think they're going to be a contender for the rest of the year.
I don't know, man. I got to run this by you real quick. And before we go to the next fire or smoke, I just need to know your thoughts on this, because I feel like when you look at the schedule, that's something to panic about. Because, you know, they still got to play Baltimore twice. They already lost to Pittsburgh once, and they lost to Pittsburgh. If I'm remembering correctly, didn't they lose to Pittsburgh in Cincinnati?
Yeah, to me, it doesn't matter at this point without them having TJ Watt. That makes a big difference.
Well, we'll see. But, you know, the Bengals, they got to play your boys, the Dolphins. If they are what you say they are, that's a tougher matchup. Then they got to play the Ravens. They got to play the Saints. Then they go Browns twice. You know, they got to play the Saints. I mean, they got to play the Falcons, Panthers, not too much difficult. Titans, not difficult, but they got to play the Chiefs because they play in that first round, you know, first place winners in the AFC South. They got to play the Bucks. They got to play the Patriots. They got to play the Bills. Dude, their schedule is not a cakewalk.
I hear everything you saying. All they got to do is win their division. That's what it comes down to.
Well,
so
that one loss hurts, you know.
Yeah,
it's a lot of football left. It's a lot of football left. But fire smoke, like this one is exciting for me. I want to let you go first. Fire smoke, Detroit Lions. Fire smoke, man.
Smoke this year. I think they're a year away.
Look,
I don't think Detroit's quite there yet. I think next year, and it depends on what your expectations as far as the fire and smoke is. Do I think they're going to compete and there's going to be a better Detroit team than they've been in the past? Yes. Do I think they're going to make the playoffs and be contended? No. I think they're a year away from that.
Listen, this is fire, and I'm saying it right now. Detroit will make the playoffs, because when I look at this NFC division, oh man, like who's there? You know what I'm saying? Like Minnesota, we thought they looked great, and then they played terrible against the Eagles. So now they on the fence. We really don't know. Green Bay, we still don't know, because like they played against the Bears and beat them handily, but it was the Bears. They were expected to win. So how good is Green Bay really? Detroit, they got lucky because they played in a game against the 49ers where it was a monsoon. Outside of the monsoon, they probably would have got beat. Detroit, Chicago, they just don't look that good as of a team. Then you look at all the other teams. It's not a lot of teams that it's a few teams that I can look at and say they legit. 49ers, Saints, Philly, Buccaneers. That's it. Those are the only four teams that I feel are like super legit. You can throw Green Bay in there, but we only give it Green Bay credence because of Aaron Rodgers, and we still have yet to see how that's going to play out. But let's throw them in there. That's 5 teams. Who are the other 3 teams? Rams. Sorry, forgot about the Rams. That's 6. So now we got 2 more teams for the playoffs. Carolina, nope. Atlanta, nope. Chicago, nope. Giants, Washington, Dallas. For me, nope. Now, Detroit, you can say nope because we still need to see more. But if I'm talking about what I've seen so far this year, Detroit offense looked legit. Amon-Ra St. Brown, future superstar as a wide receiver.
Yeah,
no joke. DeAndre Swift, no joke. They got Jamal Williams back there running the ball with him. No joke. They got a good tight end in TJ Hawkinson. They still ain't even got Jameson Williams, and he's a number 1 draft pick coming. Going to be back in the middle of the year. Just wait till he comes back. Then we got DJ Chark, who's a legit deep threat. Craig Reynolds, who nobody really wants to talk about, but he's like their number 3 back. He can run the ball. Right. You know, he's a change of pace back that when he comes in, he gets yardage. Jared Goff is not going to lose you any games, and he actually looks a lot better. He looks more poised in the pocket. He's making good throws. He's making big plays. Now, the question mark is the defense, because they lost the game against Philly because of the defense, and they allowed Washington to come back because of the defense. But you pointed this out last year, and we talked about it as well. They lost all those games in the last quarter, last seconds of the game. Lost most of those games they lost by less than a touchdown.
Right.
So a few things bounced their way, and they actually finished close to the playoffs last year, to be completely honest with you. You know, I say close because they're going to be more like a 500 team. They wasn't going to win like 10 games or something like that, or 11. So we got an extra playoff spot now. So I'm calling it right now. Detroit Lions will make the playoffs. And it's primarily because of the weak division, not because they just juggernaut. Like, weak division. That's the reason why I'm saying it.
Gotcha.
But I do think it's fire. I don't think it's smoke. Before we go to our Nukked Up section, we got to give a shout out to my boy Johnny. You know, he been really supporting us on the Facebook webpage, and he had a comment that I really appreciate. You know, we talked about who was the best tight end, and I said it was Mark Andrews, and he made the comment that he agrees with me and doesn't agree with Lonnie that Mark Andrews is a better tight end right now at this point than Travis Kelce. But Lonnie, you differ. You beg to differ. Tell us why.
You and Johnny be wrong, because it's freaking Travis Kelce. And until you show me that he's not the number 1 tight end in the NFL, I'm not gonna say he's not the number 1 tight end in the NFL.
He was the number 1 tight end last year.
In the year before, and the year before, and the year
before.
So
let me tell you why I say Mark Andrews is number 1. Is Travis Kelce still that dude? Yes, he is still that dude.
He's even more that dude now.
No. The reason why I take Mark Andrews is because he's Travis Kelce when Travis Kelce was just getting started with Patrick Mahomes. Mark Andrews has youth on his side. He has the same skill set. He don't line up as a blocking tight end. This is a receiver. He don't line up to protect. He is in the slot. He lines up out wide. He runs routes. That's what he does. He's just as good. The one difference between Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce is quarterback. And this year, the reason why I think that changes because Lamar is trying to get that money. Lamar is throwing the ball. He's trying to prove to everybody that he's not just a running quarterback, that he deserves to be the highest paid quarterback in the league, which he will be because he's going to get his money, but he's going to perform for that money. And who's going to be the primary recipient? 109 yards, 11 targets, 9 catches against Miami. Those wide receiver numbers. But Mark Andrews is a tight end. Travis Kelce puts up those numbers too. But if I got to go with somebody that's like neck and neck, I'm going with youth all day. Youth all day. So that's why I go Mark Andrews.
What's the youth?
It's not. Mark Andrews is much younger.
How much?
Travis Kelce is 33 years old, man.
How old is Mark Andrews?
Mark Andrews is still in his 20s.
Yeah, I know that, but
he was just drafted like 5 years ago or something like that. You know, Mark Andrews ain't been on the scene that long. Travis Kelce been on the scene for like 10 years, man. Come on now. Lonnie.
Yeah, but hey, look, I'm not saying they ain't been on the scene for the same time. I'm just saying I know one thing. He ain't Travis Kelce.
So
maybe he's coming into Travis Kelce, but he ain't Travis Kelce, bro. Travis Kelce is still the number 1 tight end.
You remember
nobody's taking that from him.
Listen, it's to me, it's 1A, 1B. It's not a huge separation. So I'm not gonna argue like that. I'm not gonna argue like it's just 100% one or the other. Travis Kelce is a dog. You know what I'm saying? But what I see in Mark Andrews, I also see in Travis Kelce, I also see in Mark Andrews. And when I look at the difference in age, that's to me is the defining difference for me to choose him as number 1.
One's 28, one's 33. It's a 5 year.
That's 5 year difference. That's a big difference.
And that's the reason why.
But what I was about to say,
they're both in their prime. Kelce is just on the tail end, but he's still playing like he in his prime.
Like if you go off just this year, they like neck and neck because Travis Kelce first game, beasting. Mark Andrews, he didn't really have a good first game. Travis Kelce, second game, he didn't have a good second game. Mark Andrews killed it. They right there, neck and neck. So it's
Rashad
really
Bateman killed it the first 2 weeks too. Even though there weren't a lot of passes, he still killed it in both weeks. Had over 100 yards and a touchdown. Can you say that for anybody on Kansas City?
He did not.
No,
have
I'm
over
sorry.
100 yards.
He had a touchdown in both games. He had over 100 yards in the last game. He had 104 yards in the last game.
I like Rashad Bateman. I do like Rashad Bateman. And
he didn't have 104 yards in the last game?
He had 108 yards. Yeah. Because he had 175-yard touchdown.
Yeah, how many did he have in the first game?
70, 50. He had 59.
Okay, 59.
And he had a 55-yard touchdown. And this is where I was going with Rashad Bateman. I like Rashad Bateman, but so far he has proven to be more of a deep threat than a possession receiver. Who's your possession receiver?
Give me them numbers for
Who's your possession receiver?
Give me those numbers for somebody on Kansas City.
You don't need to have those numbers because
But what I'm saying
Patrick Mahomes does
all the attention going to Kelce. Is he having to do?
All the attention is going to Kelce, just as all of attention is going to Andrews. See, this argument is flawed because there's no Tyreek Hill on neither one of these teams.
I don't.
Rashad Bateman, no. Kelce benefited from Tyreek Hill being the focus. Tyreek Hill was always the focus when he was with the Chiefs.
Well, you're arguing. You're making Tyreek Hill.
Kelce is going to get his, but when you have a threat like Tyreek Hill, it makes it even easier to go to Kelce.
I agree.
So no Tyreek Hill, he's still going to be a threat, but it makes it easier to defend the team as a whole. But you're using Rashad Bateman like he's a Tyreek Hill. No. The focus is on Andrews, not Bateman.
Yeah, but once you
it's
get
easier for Bateman because Andrews is the focal point. And Andrews still is getting his. So
my thing is, like I say, I can't take it from him until he gives it away. If you told me Andrews was playing better, but we're standing on an equal playing field and Travis Kelce is the dude. How can you take his mantle away if the guy's not doing better than him?
Well, so the reason why I took it away is because he did better than him last year, and we're talking about moving forward.
So Mark Andrews was the number one tight end in fantasy last year in production?
Yep.
Yards, receptions.
I'm gonna have to look at fantasy production. I can't give you
I said fantasy and production. Which
I'm not going to say whether he was over on all stats because I'm not sure if he was over on all stats. I know he was the number one tight end.
Kelce was the number one tight end in receptions and yards, but I could be wrong.
I mean, if you add touchdowns and you're talking about fantasy, that adds into it. I'm not going to say yes or no to that because I have to go look up the stats for myself. But I know that Mark Andrews was the number one the number one tight end in fantasy. That's what I do know. So,
well, in 2022,
Johnny,
he was number
absolutely
2.
Right.
In 2022 and 2021, Mark Andrews was the number 2 tight end in the league to number 1 Travis Kelce. I Googled it. Y'all check it. Look it up.
I don't trust that. You got to go and check bona fide stats. You Googled it. You don't, them people could be lying. I ain't trying to hear that. But again, your question was fantasy. I answered your question. And when we talk about who's better, what are we normally alluding to?
Everything.
So if you count everything, if you put everything together and you add age in there, yes, I will take Mark Andrews over Travis Kelce at this point in their
Never said I wouldn't take Mark Andrews first. I just said who was better at this point. That was
same thing. It's not same thing, but the same answer for me. I still take Mark Andrews.
I feel
anyways, let's move on to who
we can't go wrong either way.
You're absolutely right. We can't go wrong either way. Let's move on to our Nukked Up segment. I got 3 picks for today. You got your picks for today. You go ahead and give us your picks first, man.
Actually, my picks are I have anytime touchdown score. I feel like I have three people that are going to be anytime touchdown scorers this week, guys. It's going to be Jamar Chase, Mike Williams, Debo Samuel. You can parlay them together, pick one of them, and it's all going to be plus odds. But any of those three, I can guarantee you, I feel like I'm 99.9% sure all three of those guys will have a touchdown this week. I'll definitely be parlaying them and giving y'all the results.
All right. And I don't mean to go backwards, but I just had to do my own research. See, this is why you don't trust Google. 2021 regular season, Mark Andrews had 107 catches for 1,361 yards. Travis Kelce had 92 catches for 1,125.
I saw
via ESPN. Via ESPN.
I looked at the freaking stats. That's why I didn't say nothing. We were supposed to be on. I saw it. Okay, I was looking at Fantasy Pros. I saw
this is a lesson to our viewers. Always do your own research. Always do your own research. Y'all,
I saw the research and I did the research. I just didn't want to admit I was wrong.
My Nukked Up picks. Remember, I choose my picks on Prize Picks. If you go to prizepicks.com, make sure that you have access to it. I know if you're in Louisiana, you don't have access, but if you're here in Texas, you definitely have access. My Nukked Up picks for the week: James Johnson over 47.5 yards. To me, this is a steal. He's run for like over 60 yards in both games. He's clearly the number one back. I know we have it in our heads and in our hearts that we want to see Travis Etienne just take over the
James Robinson.
Yeah, James Robinson. But Travis Etienne, they have shown us that Doug Peterson has shown us that he trusts James Robinson. And right. Travis Etienne is the change of pace back. 47.5 rushing yards to me is a gimme for James Robinson. So I'm taking that all day. Marcus Mariota over 190.5 passing yards. Now, I know you're saying Marcus Mariota, but hear me out. Marcus Mariota has quietly had pretty good games these first two games. He's played against two major defenses. He threw for 215 yards against New Orleans Saints. He threw for 196 yards against the San Francisco 49ers. Who is he going up against this week? Seattle Seahawks. So if he can exceed expectations against those two offenses, I don't see why he won't exceed expectations against the Seattle Seahawks, who don't have a fraction of the defense of the two teams that the New Orleans Saints. I mean, the Marcus Mariota has already played. So 190.5 or passing yards over. And this last one, I cannot believe that I'm picking this, but I think you should rush to pick Cooper Rush over 235.5 passing yards. Now, that's 235 yards is what he threw last time. His over is 210.5 passing yards. He threw for 235 yards against Cincinnati. Well, guess who he's playing this week? He is playing against the Giants. The Giants, while they show that they're a top 10 defense against the pass, have only played against the Titans and the Panthers. That means that they played defense against Ryan Tannehill and Baker Mayfield. We know those are not quarterbacks that pass the ball well. But Cooper Rush has shown in the limited amount of time that he started that he can move the ball down the field. You remember that game against Minnesota last year? He played really well in that game. I think he threw, I'm not going to say he threw for 300 yards, but he threw for a lot of yards, and I think he ended up helping them win that game. And then against Cincinnati, he threw for 235 yards. That's a better defense, a better team than the Giants. So I think that Cooper Rush, 210.5 passing yards over, to me, all three of those are locks. Get your money. Get your money. And don't forget to shout us out if you win. If you don't win, hey, back to the drawing board. We in this thing together. We're going to make some money.
Just to reiterate, my picks were for FanDuel and DraftKings, just so y'all know.
Okay. And the last segment of the day, we got to give out some L's, man. We got to give out some L's. So who you got?
My L goes to the New York Jets. And it goes to the New York Jets. You blew a 13-point lead with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. There's only one team that's done that in the last 22 years. Guess who it was? The New York Jets. So only one team in the last 20 plus years has gave up a lead over 13 plus points with 2 minutes left in the game. And both of those times, it was the New York Jets. Y'all got to get this L. Pull yourself together. 13 points, 2 minutes left in the game. It's a 2-score game. Y'all can literally kneel the ball and run off half that clock. So y'all got to get this L along with Michael Rappaport. And
so, cuz I maybe giving us the wrong team because the Jets, they won. They beat the Browns last week. They came back and beat the Browns.
I'm sorry, it was the Browns.
So you everything you said was about the Browns.
Everything was about the Browns.
Yes.
I apologize.
Yes. And I agree. They should be holding that L because that was ridiculous. They should have won that game. And against the Jets, I'm
sorry. The Jets have been so Jets, I apologize to y'all. Y'all been so bad. I confused who I was talking about. But what I did confuse is that the Browns have been even worse. So yeah, no, I'm talking. It was the Browns.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, my L is in the topic of football, but not actual football players that are still playing. And I don't know if y'all watched the fight between Adrian Peterson and I can't even get his name out for the Pittsburgh Steelers, the running back.
You talking about Le'Veon Bell?
Le'Veon Bell. Oh my God, Adrian Peterson, you got knocked out by Le'Veon Bell.
Knocked
out. And you got to hold this L, man, because we all not great at all things. Just because you was great at being a football player and a running back does not mean that you are a great boxer. Adrian Peterson got one of those looks like, I ain't messing with him. But he turns out that it's all looks. Yeah, Le'Veon Bell had him stumbling in that ring, man. I was like, this ain't a good look for you, Adrian Peterson. You know, I think a lot of people like lost respect for you, you know. Plus, when you look at the fact that he was in trouble because he was whooping his son, a lot of people looked at that as abuse or whatever. And, you know, they're like, oh, you got what you deserve. You got your ass knocked out. But it was funny. Adrian Peterson, hey, don't let nobody tell you not to go back in that ring. Keep trying. I hope you don't get your ass knocked out again. But you got to hold 2 L's. You got to hold this L on this show, and you got to hold that ass whooping L that Le'Veon Bell gave you too.
Right. I love that one, bro. That was awesome.
But that's all we got for y'all. We appreciate y'all. Please like, subscribe on Spotify. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, like our show, comment, ask us questions. Like, again, we appreciate Johnny. You know, he been great at supporting us, and we got a lot of other people that support us as well. Anything you got to say before we get out of here, Lonnie?
No, man, same thing. I just want to reiterate. We do have a new page. We have a new group called Hold This L on Facebook. So you're more than welcome to join. Request an invite. We welcome everybody to come on. And of course, YouTube, like, subscribe, tune in. We're also on Spotify. We're also on Apple Music, FM, anchorfm.com. So you can also catch us on Anchor. So there's multiple platforms you can catch us on. So anything that you're trying to listen to us on, we can probably provide some type of streaming service for you. So just get with us. Let us know. Hey, if you want to be on the show also, let us know. Put it in the comments. We're welcoming all people to the show, trying to change it up a little bit. So everybody's welcome. Please let us know if you want to be on the show. We welcome you on. We're excited to have you.
All right. That's all we got for y'all today. This is Hold This L. I'm Cappel.
And I'm Lonnie.
And we out. Deuces.
Peace.